Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Entrusted to Lead podcast, where we dive deep into the world of leadership. I'm your host, Anina Cummins, and today on this episode, we're honing the critical skills that make any entrepreneur a success: risk-taking, innovation, and vision. So grab your cup of coffee and a pen, get ready to take some notes, and let's get started. Doing things alone is entirely overrated. We all need a community to thrive. And that's why I'm part of an online community of writers and speakers, podcasters, and entrepreneurs called Creatives. And I love it. In the years since I joined this community, I've launched new ideas, and I finally executed the dreams that sat on the shelf for years. Seriously. And I was able to do this because of the outstanding group of mentors, exceptional training, and encouraging mastermind groups with my new friends who did and continue to give me invaluable feedback. Oh, and not to mention all the fun, because we have had lots and lots of fun. Have you ever said, I want to write a book? Or do you want to use your voice for the exciting world of podcasting? If so, Called Creatives is your best resource for up-to-the-minute industry training, expert advice, live coaching, and peer support like no other. Best-selling authors and speakers Allie Worthington and Lisa Whittle lead this community with a no-competition mission, and it shows. So join my friends and I in the Called Creative community. Head to my show notes, danitacummins.com/podcast, and click the link to get all the details to join. I promise you won't regret it. I look forward to seeing you in the community and watching you grow. I love helping entrepreneurs strategize about starting a new business or a ministry or nonprofit. It's probably my most favorite thing to do, except for drink coffee. So here's an example of how the conversation usually starts, because I think this is important for us to talk about today as I am sharing space with people who are considering starting a business or launching a new endeavor. And I find myself in this conversation over and over. So I want to share some tips with you today. Here's an example of how the conversation usually starts. A friend or colleague or stranger I meet standing in the checkout line starts to share an idea they have about starting something new. And before you know it, we have dived headlong into this spiral about their business or their ministry idea. And they share with me the great suffering or the problem that they see in the world, which is so valid, and how it is absolutely important and imperative for them to solve this problem at this exact juncture and time in their life. I get it. I'm a founder. I intimately understand this sense of urgency that we feel deep down inside when we see suffering or an opportunity in the world, and we feel compelled to get in the game. But after a few minutes of listening to their story, I start to ask them some probing questions like these. I say, well, what will your revenue source be? Right? That's number one. That's so important. Number two, who is going to pay for these services or products? Like, is someone actually going to buy them? Have you researched that? How much is it going to cost for you to build an inventory of the supplies that you need? And how much time is it going to take for you to be able to do that work, like building candles or making t-shirts or starting a nonprofit on the weekends because you have a full-time job? So once I've gotten it started and I start to ask them these questions about their initial plan, then I start to ask them questions like, how do you think that this business is going to scale to other people or to customers or a market? How are you going to do that? And then just practically speaking, when are you going to find the time to sleep, right? Because sleep is a real thing. And I begin to see their eyes start to sparkle a bit. And it really does genuinely in that moment hurt my heart. I wouldn't call it sparkling in the sense of joy, like they're not super excited, but it's more so that they're coming face to face with the reality of fear of taking risks and the magnitude of what they have just said out loud and the endeavor that they hope to achieve. As leaders, we often find ourselves navigating uncharted waters and making decisions that shape the future of our ventures. Risk-taking isn't necessarily about being reckless, but it's about launching calculated moves that propel us forward, but in the right direction and at the right time. I am more of an analytical systems thinker. I love a good process map or an Excel spreadsheet. I know if you know me, you know that's exactly true. My kids joke about it all the time. When I say, let me show you my Excel spreadsheet. My friends in the engineering disciplines are not in their head right now as you're driving down the road. I see you. I see you. And over the years, I've learned that embracing calculated risks that are backed by thoroughly researched data and analysis can lead to significant growth opportunities. It totally can. So I'm not here today to tell you that you shouldn't take risks or any of those things. I completely disagree. But I want you to do it with wisdom. right? Let's apply a faith lens to this for just a second. For those of us who are people of faith, God promises to give us wisdom. So we do strive to create new things. We do strive to have the courage to do those things, which is the entire foundation of being an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur in the business world or in the nonprofit or ministry space, right? That's the foundation, is to create something new, to solve a problem that hasn't yet been solved. But my encouragement is for you to do it wisely. If you decide to launch a new business or a nonprofit, I think that's totally amazing. I love helping entrepreneurs and small business owners start their businesses or start their nonprofit or any of those kinds of things, or grow and scale them. That's where my heart is. That's why I started my coaching and consulting business, was to help leaders and organizations thrive and to grow. And I believe wholeheartedly that the world's never going to have enough quality resources to help families and our communities grow. Like, it's just probably impossible. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do that, okay? Did you know that 80% of companies will fail within the first 3 years? So I'll put my little growth consultant hat on for just a second, and I'll share some of this data with you that I share with coaching and consulting clients. 80% of companies will fail within the first 3 years, which is a huge amount of failure. Most of those are probably extraordinary ideas or solutions to real problems that we see and experience every day. I'm sure that they were. But they still failed because they lacked sustainable, consistent revenue, or the leaders took risks without wisdom. There is the occasional crisis, to be sure, so I won't discount that at all. But most failed due to taking uncalculated and unplanned risks. That's just the bottom line. So as a leader, you must continuously examine your risks, be open-minded, and ask for help. Okay, I know it's hard. Phone a friend, listen to their advice, even if you don't like it. I promise you'll be glad that you did. When I first started my consulting business, I called 10 friends that I trusted their opinion, that knew me enough to be able to speak into my heart and my life. And I asked them candidly, hey, this is my idea. I want to start this business. Well, what do you think? And they gave me invaluable feedback. And so if you're considering starting a business or launching a new ministry or nonprofit or something, phone a friend. The second element is innovation. So if you're like me, you might be living in and around this technology ecosystem, and you could be kind of fed up with the term innovation. And if you are, that's okay. I get annoyed with it a little bit sometimes, if I'm being honest. At times, it can have this negative implication, but entrepreneurs thrive on innovation, right? Constantly seeking new ways to solve problems and to disrupt their industries. Innovation isn't just about discovering groundbreaking ideas, though. It's about fostering a culture that encourages creativity, that welcomes experimentation, and learns from failures. I like to say that innovation is a mindset. It's not a technology or a solution. It's so much bigger than that. In the last 10 years, I've worked with various technology firms and government agencies who are all striving to launch more innovation into their organizations. I also did a podcast last year where I discussed the 5 elements that are necessary for effective innovation. So check that out if you are interested. But here's the foundational point that I learned about innovation. When we cultivate an innovative mindset within our teams, we build and we launch transformative solutions, and we establish a competitive edge in the market. But consistency is also key. So innovation doesn't mean living in the wild, wild west, right? There are some great podcasts out there. So if you're interested in learning more, I'll share some of those in the show notes today. Defense Mavericks is one that comes to mind. If you're interested in the AI tech world, they do a great job of breaking down all the barriers that make innovation successful. So I'll drop some links with some of my favorite resources in the show notes for you. But I just want you to kind of explore this concept or idea, or maybe you have a bias about innovation and what it is and what it isn't. And if we go back to those elements that we talked about before, if we talk about something that is creative and it also welcomes experimentation, and it learns from failures, right? Those 3 things. We see how tightly knit together innovation and psychological safety in our organizations, right? We dove into that topic, psychological safety, in a different podcast as well, when I had 2 of the authors come on and talk about their psychological safety playbook. And over the next couple of months, there'll be a lot of blog content coming out surrounding that topic. So check that out. But it is so incredibly important because we can't ask our teams to try new things, to try to break the barriers, right? To try to lead from a place of insecurity or a place of unknownness if they don't feel safe, right? If we don't create an environment that's undergirded in trust. So innovation and trust go hand in hand. But let's also apply this through a faith lens for a second, because that's pretty much what I do with everything that I do, right? Everything comes back to faith for me. How can innovation help a church or a ministry that provides services to a community? We talk a lot about innovation in the tech industry and AI and machine learning and how it can make your life better, ChatGPT, which I personally love. But what about innovation in the church or innovation in a ministry? Let's consider some of the culture gaps in your organization. And you can ask yourself these questions. How effective are your programs today? Are there other ways to solve the homelessness problem in your community? Can you disrupt the status quo? What is it actually? What is the status quo? Do you even know? Do you even have an idea of the systematic kind of processes and challenges that are causing the symptoms in the community or environment in which you work and serve? That root cause analysis, has that been done by anybody? Really? And then can you design new ways to reach a group of stakeholders or donors or families in need? Most assuredly, the answer is yes. It absolutely is yes. We are currently working through this in the Pregnancy Help Ministry today. We are sitting down, going through all of our models, going through all of our messaging, going through all of our programs, and we're asking the questions very candidly and very transparently, like, are we solving the problem that we say we're solving? And if we're not, can we solve it? And how? And are we the right people to do that, right? That comes back to humility and grace, I think. So when you consider innovation, I don't want you to dismiss it if you think it doesn't apply to your organization because you don't work in the tech field, okay? Try to look at the other side of the coin and change your perspective, which takes us to the final element that we're going to talk about today about leadership and entrepreneurs is vision. A clear and compelling vision is the cornerstone of effective leadership. Did you write that down? I want you to write that down. A clear and compelling vision is the cornerstone of effective leadership. We say that all the time, right? We talk all the time about vision. We love a great charismatic leader, a visionary leader who can inspire us, who has grit and determination. We love it, right? We write movies about it and sing songs and all the things. Recently, my son and I were talking about impact, and he said, Mom, can one person really make that big of a difference in the world? And I said, most definitely. Look at Adolf Hitler and Mother Teresa. Both were visionary leaders, hands down. Both saw a problem they felt very passionate to solve. And both were highly effective, and they left a lasting impression and impact on the world. So one life very much matters. But it's all about the tilt. You choose to use your powers for good or evil. You get to decide whether you're going to have an impact and what is the impact or the legacy that you want to leave on the world. You get to decide. Nobody else gets to decide that for you, friend. Nobody. Not your parents, not your spouse, not your pastor, not your boss, nobody but you. You get to decide at the end of the day what kind of impact and legacy that you want to leave in the world. You get one life. Do you hear me? You get one life. And if you're breathing, then I need you to put your feet down and I need you to get moving because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of suffering in the world. There's a lot of heartache and there's a lot of hurt. And there are a lot of things that we can do to make our communities and our churches and our worlds better. But you cast a vision for yourself and for those around you. Leadership must start with a clear vision. It provides direction, it inspires action, and it unites your team toward a common purpose and path. As entrepreneurs, our vision serves as a roadmap. It guides us through the challenges and it motivates us to pursue these ambitious goals, which are super scary. I get it. But vision fuels us. It really is the fuel that drives us. So communicating that vision to your team fosters alignment, it garners commitment, and it creates a shared sense of purpose. We'll be talking a lot more about purpose over the next few months because I'm getting ready to launch my first book. And we will be talking about purpose and promise and all the things, what it is and what it isn't. So stay tuned for that. But today I want you to remember that without a clear vision, organizations fail. They just do. Teams fall apart and resources don't last. So make vision an essential part of your leadership and your entrepreneurial journey. If you can't quantify the outcome that you hope to achieve, if you can't quantify the problem that you're trying to solve with your idea of your business or your ministry or what your church is doing in your community, then nothing else is really going to work out. It'll all eventually just kind of fall apart. For 6 years, I led a nonprofit. Maybe you've heard of it, the Alpha Life Pregnancy Center. And I have had 1,000 conversations about vision. Each and every time I meet someone new, I say it again. We envision a world where every life has a chance to grow. I say it at staff meetings. We put it on our website. So everyone remembers where we're going and why. And as we close, here's some advice for you to consider today. As a leader, I want you to strive to create clarity around your vision, embrace taking calculated risks, and nurture a culture of innovation, both inside and outside your organization. Okay? Remember, leadership isn't just about achieving success. It's about empowering others, driving positive change, and leaving a lasting impact on those around you. And leadership starts with you. We'll continue to dive deeper into the elements of leadership this season. And if you'd like a free checklist on how to help you optimize your organizational success, hop over to dennydecummins.com and download the free strategic planning checklist that I created. It's a successful strategic approach, and that involves a comprehensive and a well thought out plan, which aligns to your organizational goals and your objectives, right? It sounds easy, but it's kind of hard, friends. I get it. So check out the checklist. Let me know. If there are gaps or things that you'd like to see, let me know that as well, because just like you, I'm always growing. And the next question is, are you prepared to lead your team through the next phase of your organizational growth journey? Maybe, maybe not. So I've designed that checklist to streamline your planning process. And I hope that every decision you make aligns with your overarching goals and propels your business forward. So if you want to discuss ways that I can help your team with strategic planning, click on the Getting Started button on the website for details. And until next time, keep showing up every day, even when it hurts, because you matter. Okay? Have an amazing day, friends. I'll see you later.